Hello there, my name is Jordan Min, and in this video you're going to learn everything you need to know in order to start selling on Amazon using FBA in 2020 and even 2021. I've broken down the entire process in 6 simple and easy to follow steps. We're going to cover everything from different options that you have to legally structure your business through to product research, product and supplier sourcing, shipping to Amazon, creating your product listing and FBA shipment, shipping your product from China or whatever country your supplier is to Amazon. And finally, we will cover launching your product using a well-optimized product listing and PPC only, no social media required. Step number 1, how to structure your FBA business. Now, disclaimer, I am not a legal consultant or advisor, so everything I'm saying comes from my experience. The most common legal structures that FBA sellers use is either LLC or equivalent of LLC if you live outside of the USA, and the second most common legal structure is sole proprietorship. The difference between the two is that when using LLC, should there be any liability or lawsuit against you, your liability will be limited within the assets of your LLC. While if you're a sole proprietor, then you will be liable with all your assets should there be a lawsuit against you. Once you've decided on the legal structure for your business, the next step is to actually open a Seller Central account. The procedure is pretty straightforward. You need to provide Amazon with a valid credit card and address of your business. Be mindful that Amazon will require you to provide a proof of your identity and a proof of your address. So you need to have some sort of proof such as driver's license, bank statement, utility bills ideally, that clearly state your name or your business's name and the address that you use to sign up for a seller account. And now the next most confusing part when it comes to setting up your seller account and the foundation of your business is, do you need a trademark and brand registry? Now, is it nice to have a trademark and a brand registry? Absolutely. Is it really necessary to have a brand registry and a trademark when you're just starting out? Absolutely not. In order to enroll to brand registry, you need to have a trademark. To obtain a trademark, the entire process can take anywhere between 6 to 9 months, and it costs at least $500. So I think it would be wiser to give your new product a go first, and once you have a proof that your product is going to sell well, of let's say $10,000 a month in sales, and then you can go ahead and hire a trademark attorney to initiate the trademarking process for you. This is how you save at least another $500 that you can put towards your advertising campaign on Amazon. Now, step number 2, and this is absolutely the most crucial and important step in your entire FBA business. Product research doesn't have to be complicated, but product research does need to be well thought out. The way I approach product research is you can think of it pretty much as a product selection funnel. When first thing, you need to identify your total capital. In other words, the total amount of money that you'll be able to put into your business. As a rule of thumb, you want to split your total capital in half, and you're going to use 50% of your capital towards your first order, and then the other 50% of your capital will go towards purchasing a second order. This is the case because in your first round of inventory, you're highly likely to actually lose a little money, and on top of that, you need to reorder second round of inventory well before your first round has sold out. So once you've determined your total capital and your budget for your first order, next thing you need to figure out is the type of product you're going to sell. There are several different strategies when it comes to product selection and product types. You can choose between selling low price, high volume products. Those are basically products that are priced under $50, and sell in the high hundreds and even thousands of units per month, or you can choose high price, low to mid volume product. Those are products that are priced above $50, like $75, $100, $150, $200 or more dollars, but they sell let's say between 100 and 200 units a month, and yet those metrics are just general guidelines. Or you can even choose to sell a seasonal product, products that sell either only in the summer or in Q4 for the holiday season. And then once you've determined your budget and the product type that you want to sell, then you want to design your own product criteria based on your budget and the type of product that you want to sell. And again, the product criteria that you design should not be considered as a rigid set of rules that you have to follow. Use those criteria as a general guidelines to guide you along your product research process. You can bend all but 3 criteria. And that is, first and foremost, you have to validate that the niche you choose is consistent with your target monthly sales volume. 2, there must be a good opportunity for you to give your product a unique and meaningful twist. If you copy on Amazon, your product is highly likely to fail. That's just the way it is. Do not sell a product if you haven't figured a unique and meaningful way of differentiating it. And number 3, you must have a healthy ROI, return on investment. And what I consider a healthy return on investment is ideally around 100% and not less than 50%. And those numbers are gross return on investment. Doesn't include PPC spend, returns, refunds, and inventory storage fees. Next up, step number 3. Product and supplier sourcing. The entire process of supplier and product sourcing is very simple nowadays. All you need to do is go over to Alibaba.com, and the algorithm on the website is designed in a way that when you enter a search term, the algorithm will show you the best suppliers on page 1. So you don't need to go all the way through to the last page. As a general rule of thumb, you want to pick several suppliers with at least 2 years gold supplier badge, overall rating of 4.5 stars. Of course, the more the better. And you also want to pick the suppliers with the most customer reviews and transactions. Then all you have to do is just reach out to them. You can do so through Alibaba. Introduce yourself, tell them what product you're interested in, how you would like to customize the product, and ultimately get a sample from at least a few suppliers. And here is a pro tip. Instead of having each supplier send you a sample directly to you via courier such as FedEx or DHL, which depending on the volume and the weight of the product could cost between $50 and $100+ per sample, there is a way that you can save some money on shipping samples, and that is by using a consolidation agent. What consolidation agents do is you ask your suppliers to ship your samples to the consolidation agent, which is going to be somewhere in China, and then the agent will consolidate all samples and ship them to you at once. That way you can save as much as 50% on shipping costs. In the product description of the video, you can find the contact information of the consolidation agent that I use. And then, needless to say, once you've received the samples, you have to inspect the quality, and in the process of communicating with different suppliers, you get a feel of the effectiveness and the ease of working with each supplier. And this is where you kind of have to use your intuition, your gut, to select the right supplier. You will feel more comfortable working with one supplier over another, and that's the supplier that you have to pick. The price alone is not the most important factor. So now you've picked the supplier, you've placed your first order, and you're now waiting for your product to be manufactured. And now comes step number 4. This is when you want to set up your product listing and create your first FBA shipment in Seller Central. When setting up your product listing, the first thing that I usually do is keyword research. That helps with SEO. It helps Amazon's algorithm index your product for relevant search terms. The way I personally do my keywords research is by using Jungle Scout, which is a product research software. But whether you use Jungle Scout or another one, it doesn't really matter. They all do the same thing. However, in my experience and research, Jungle Scout and Helium 10 are the most accurate softwares on the market. So whichever provider you go for, you won't make a mistake. Once you've identified the top and highest search volume keywords for your product, that's let's say top 5 to 8 keywords, you want to put them in a spreadsheet and go over to Fiverr or Upwork, get a freelance copywriter to help you design your product title, description, and bullet points. Send them those keywords that you found and make sure that they include all these keywords in your product listing. It's important to tell your freelance copywriter also provide you with an HTML version of your sales copy. At the same time, considering you have a product sample in hand, what you want to do is find a professional product photographer, and ideally you want to find a local product photographer. Now, the benefits of working with a local photographer versus a freelance photographer that is somewhere else in another town or state or even a country is that you get to work side by side with a photographer and you'll be able to arrange the settings for the shots the way you envision them. And personally, that's exactly what I do. My product photographer is an absolute professional with 20 plus years of experience, but he doesn't understand my customers. He doesn't understand what props to get for my shots, etc., etc. So the person that understands your customers best is you, not your photographer. That's why I recommend, if possible, work with a local photographer. If that's not an option though, it's not the end of the world, okay? You can still do a great job by hiring a professional product photographer such as productphotography.com, and then hiring a freelance Photoshop editor and giving them detailed instructions on how you like your images to look. Don't try to cut corners when it comes to your product listing, especially product photography and Photoshop. For my products, I spend on average $300 to $500 on product images for a single product. Because remember, when it comes to online shopping, the customers don't have the privilege of seeing the product live and touching it and getting a feel of it. So the only way to enhance your customer's experience is through product images. Now, between the time when you're setting up your listing and you're waiting for your product images to be ready, you can use temporary image just to complete your product listing. And recently there has been a little change when it comes to creating new product listings and listing a new brand. When you go ahead and list your new product and brand, you see a message. The message is called error code 5665, and I have another video that offers you 2 solutions to the error code 5665. You can click on the video here. Once your product listing is set up, the next thing you want to do is go to Seller Central and create your first FBA shipment. Now, currently, due to the pandemic and the overload of the entire logistics that Amazon is experiencing, they have imposed limits for all products on the marketplace, including new products. So currently, as of the time of recording this video, the limit for new products is 200 units. So you won't be able to create a FBA shipment for more than 200 units. And during your FBA shipment creation process, you will be able to generate FBA labels, also called FNSKUs, case labels, and in case you're shipping pallet loads, you'll be able to generate pallet labels. I have another video that teaches you exactly how to create your first FBA shipment. Prior to creating your first FBA shipment, you have to consult with your supplier on the best and most economical shipping mode for your products. As a general rule of thumb, products that weigh under 1 pound or 500 grams are okay to be shipped by air. And for products that weigh over 1 pound or 500 grams, in most cases it will be more economical to ship them by sea. Most suppliers work with freight forwarders and they have good discounts from their freight forwarders. So I suggest you to inquire a quotation from your supplier for both air and sea shipping. Now, once your product is ready and your supplier ships it out, if your product travels by air, it usually takes about 10 to 14 days for it to arrive at Amazon. And if your product travels by sea, it normally takes around 35 to 45 days, depending on whether you're shipping to the east or the west coast of the United States. And now finally, assuming that while you wait for your product to arrive at Amazon's warehouse, you get your product images and sales copy ready to go. So once your product hits Amazon's warehouse, you'll be ready to set up your first PPC campaign. And that's step number 6. This is where many new sellers experience frustration. And that's because most people have kind of unrealistic expectations when it comes to PPC. First thing you need to understand is that your conversion rates are going to suck in the beginning, at least until you have a dozen reviews. Make sure not to overspend on PPC. Depending on your budget, I think it's reasonable to spend anywhere from $30 to $50 on PPC a day. It really does take time for a product to gain traction. So you have to be patient and meanwhile not break the bank. When it comes to the PPC campaign itself, I recommend targeting the top 3 to 5 highest volume keywords and putting them in a menu campaign at a broad match. You have to experiment with the keyword bit until you start getting enough impressions and clicks. And then every 2 weeks or so, you want to pull a search term report and remove keywords that spend money but don't bring any sales. And finally, in order to get reviews more quickly, I suggest enrolling your product to early reviewer program, which is now available to everyone regardless of whether you're brand registered or not. And in addition to that, you can also sign up for an automated email follow-up such as Feedback 5. This is the software that I personally use, and I think they have free plan for new small volume sellers that you can take advantage of. Link in the description. Thank you very much for watching. I hope this video helps you out, and if you have any question, please let me know in the comments below. Bye bye.